Alright, I am going to be doing a little, not really review, but introduction to a build I just completed a little while ago and haven't really got a whole ton of time to run it. I'm going to be running the crap out of it over the Christmas New Year season. I'm going to be running it really hard, running gunning outside in the plentiful snow of Michigan, and it's everywhere. I mean, we got hammered, but that's a good thing. Look at that trash can. It's got like 1.5 feet on top of it. Yeah, deck's all covered. But I will be running and gunning over the Christmas time with this guy and a few other builds I have, or maybe they're just stock guns. I have a little bit of both we're doing, but anyways, so not really a tested review or anything like that, just introducing you and telling you guys what is on it and what I did and how I hope it'll work out. So let's start at the front. Imagine a flash suppressor here, or flash hider, because it should be there and I should put that there. That is one thing I haven't done, need to do. Not sure how to do it yet. I haven't really looked into it too much. I want to say that this is like welded or pinned onto the site or something. I might have to do something goofy to get it on there. But anyways, I got a UTG ELP, I believe 38 laser light combo. It's got 150 lumens LED light, which is ridiculously bright. I mean, this thing, as I can recall, there is a bit of a spot. If you can see, it's not totally a floodlight, but it does have a centered spot, and it's pretty uniform. The only thing that sucks about it is I get the shadow of my barrel here on it, but that's unavoidable. Good light. Only complaint is the only way you can actuate the light is you don't have a push pin, you don't have a clear click on, click off. It's a loose, basically this thing screws your batteries into the light, and what you're doing is hard contacting, pushing the battery into contact to actually actuate the light. I called the company because I thought there was something wrong with it. I thought there was a push button back here, but they said no, it's just hard contact, and if you get it in the right position and you just tap it, you can get it to where it'll turn on just when you apply pressure there, which is kind of cool, and then you can just flip it on and it stays there. And it's pretty precise too. If you get it just off and on, off and on, it's pretty consistent. So I guess it's not that big of a deal. It's just kind of hokey to me. Laser is push pin. And where's that thing? I don't know if the camera's picking it up here. Where's the laser? There it is. Okay, so you can see the laser. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it. It will shine. See it running through my house? I don't know, it's hard to do with this. Okay, see it back there? It is visible for a ridiculous, I mean, I got a pretty long stretch for my house here, but it's got a pretty ridiculous range on the laser. I'm gonna say you can see that laser clearly in broad daylight out to 75 yards, 100 yards pretty easily. So laser, from what I can tell, is top notch. Light is ridiculous. I mean, this thing in the dead of night will light up. I didn't measure it. I wasn't really trying to measure it, but I mean, huge area. I mean, like 30 yards ahead of you, you can see, not broad daylight, but pretty freaking good for the middle of the night. Okay, I got a aircraft aluminum, I believe Vector Arms. I can't remember what brand this thing is. It's kind of a hokey eBay thing, but it was honestly the best quality one I could find, because all the other ones I really wasn't digging how they pinched on the gas tube, and they'll pinch this gas tube and then everything will clamp onto that. This one, I believe, yeah, it pinches the barrel, which can you believe it might be better depending on who you are. So it pinches the barrel and then clamps on the gas tube, and let me be honest, it does put pressure on the gas tube. Not significant, not anywhere near as much as the other ones that have the potential to collapse the gas tube or anything like that. It's not going to do that. But one praise I have about it is they did a good job of cutting out all the metal they could, and this thing is freaking light. I couldn't imagine a piece of metal being any lighter, you know, to fulfill this position. Aside from your wood handguard, this is as light as it gets. I love it for that, and it's sturdy, seems well built, everything's perfectly spec'd. you know, it was numbered in here, but I did a custom duracoat, which we'll talk about in a minute. So it was actually a pretty decent finish. I'll say that it was a pretty decent finish. When I sanded it, I couldn't get a whole heck of a lot of it off. Probably little to none came off when I sanded it, and I really went to town on it. All right, I don't know if I said it or not. This is a Century Arms WASR-10, just plain old AK-47. If it works, don't. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know there are other expensive AKs out there you can get, but this AK will chug on and chug on and chug on, and I've sent hundreds and hundreds, thousands probably out of it. So I know it does its job. So I didn't feel the need to get any sort of expensive build base to build off of. Okay, the side mount here is a Kalinka quick detach. This lever moves, I mean, so easily, it's ridiculous. I have no idea how this thing works, because if you flip that lever this way, this thing, when you first get it, you have to slam it on, but after a few times going in and off, it loosens up and you can whip the thing off pretty good. And you loosen it and it's not tight at all when you tuck it under there. Not super tight, but once you do that, this thing is not going anywhere. So I love this mount. And you can detach it on and off, and it's supposedly, I haven't tested it yet, but I bet it does, hold 0 on your optics. So you can pull this thing off, go to your irons, flip it back on, and you're still zeroed with your Eotech or whatever you put on there. This is an Eotech 512 holographic sight. And what else we got? Tapco T6 collapsible buttstock. Pretty cheap. I tried like heck to find something a little off the norm aside from this, and I couldn't find anything that was getting good reviews for this, except for I was looking at that Mako shock stock or something like that. And the original first model I tried to buy everywhere. I placed about 5 orders, people saying they had it in stock, and they'd email me and say, hey, it's not in stock, and try and keep my money anyways. But after a few headaches with that, I just said, screw it. I'll get the Tapco, there's nothing wrong with it, people like them. So I ended up doing that. It does come with this thing here is integrated into the stock. I think you can remove it too if you want to. I think there's a way to get it in and out. But it's a great hookup for a single point sling, which I have on mine. Only complaint on this, it's very strong. It looks like a cheap piece of plastic, but it's actually very strong, but it's freaking thick. I mean, it is thick, super thick. And this clasp, I don't know if this is the fault of the sling or the fault of this being chunky, but this clasp can barely fit around it and barely clasps. You know, you can see it's grinding the crap out of it right there because it's just not big enough, this clasp. So probably what I'm going to be doing to remedy my situation is cut this whole clasp off and go to Home Depot and sew a better one on. And probably another complaint I have is this thing rides too low, no matter how much you extend it or mess with the adjustments. So I'm probably going to eliminate all this and just put a clasp directly here and shorten up a good 4 inches there. And because I have disconnects, you know, here and here, if I need to ditch something, there's plenty. You don't really, this is real convenient, and I might see if I can find a way to shorten this and still maintain that quick detach off of the sling. But in practical reality, I really don't think I need it as much as I need this gun to ride higher up on me. So I can, when I'm doing AK reloads, I'm having this buttstock butted up against my shoulder. Okay, I want this up against my shoulder, I want my hand here, and I want to be reloading with my left hand. Now, this is meant to have tension on it when I'm reloading, so I can hold that big old gun in one hand and flip the magazine out with my left hand and reload into it. Now, I can't very well do that. I mean, I can, but it's a lot more difficult when I have no tension on this because the gun is so far out here to get tension, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, maybe I'll have to stand up and do a video on that if it's of any interest, but yeah, that needs to be shortened up. And I'm too wide of a person to be, I'm sure it could choke it up enough, but then this would be too, not big enough for me to get into. So for me being 6'1" and about 300 pounds, this is, that might just be me. It might be fine for you, but for my purposes, that needs to be choked up. Anyways, enough babbling about that. What else were we going to go over? I think that was about all. I might give you a quick peek through the Eotech maybe, so we can see. Turn this bad boy on. Boom. So you can see how the Eotech reticle looks. Pretty cool looking down the front of that. You can't co-witness through the bottom of this. Kalinka, sorry, moving the camera on. Kalinka does make a higher side mount to where you can co-witness. I opted not to do that because imagine how high that thing would be up. It's already pretty high. It would be, you know, another 2 inches above that. So I didn't think that'd be the greatest option. Plus I have the laser on. I know they're both electronic. Let me get that thing back here. I know they're both electronic, but I highly doubt I'm going to have both of them fail on me. So I feel like if my Eotech fails, I can flip my laser on. And if my laser fails, that's why I love having this quick detach. You can literally just toss that thing off and go to your irons. So, pretty cool. I like this setup. I can't wait to run it, and I will let you know how everything performs once I do. And I will have videos of the running as well. Alright, thanks.